Could you pass that down, please?
I think you've got... Just...
We accept the apologies from John Island.
Matt, excuse me, butting in. Could you tell the councillors if they don't speak into the microphone, it will not go on the recording? And I am getting complaints from members of the public. Please.
And just to remind councillors as well, so you can speak into the microphone, so it will go onto the recording for the website as well. So just to receive the apologies from...
Sorry, Chair, could I add something to that?
Sorry.
Members of the public, if they wish to speak, then do likewise.
Yes. We'll provide a microphone for those who want to speak during the presentation and the questions. Try again. So, receive the apologies for Philip Matthews and Jonathan Ireland Senior. All of them. Senior, not senior. All those in favour?
Just before we start, to receive apologies is opening up at number 1. We haven't done the public session, please.
No apologise. My first time.
You're jumping ahead.
Yeah. So I've actually got one there to start with. We've got a few presentations from members of the public. I think we'll start with Constable Barton. Okay? Okay for you to do it? Yes? Bakewell, sorry, Bakewell. Inspector Bakewell, I do apologise.
It's nothing to do with me.
One of them days today.
You need a microphone.
Would you like to speak with a microphone?
Shall I stand so I haven't got my back to anybody? You've heard this before. Just here this evening to say hello and it's lovely to meet you all. Some people I have met before. I'm Inspector Caroline Bakewell and I'm the Inspector from the Rotherham South Neighbourhoods team. I've been in post since April. I am trying my best to get round to as many meetings as I can in the area. Just to let you know really with regards to neighbourhoods policing in your area, as you're probably aware, with the cutbacks from central government, that the police basically pulled away from the neighbourhoods model and went back more to response policing. We've been out doing lots of consultation events with the public, basically saying they don't want that. They want police back in their neighbourhoods, knowing their local officers. So there's a move back towards this now then in Rotherham and across the force. So now we have, for your neighbourhoods team, we are getting more police officers, which is again is what people are saying they want to see, police officers. It's a slow move, but we are moving in the right direction. So we just recruited 3 further police officers. So on our team here, which is your neighbourhood team, there's myself, there's Sergeant Mark Worrell, there's now 5 police officers, and we have 12 PCSOs. And they're working in your areas, working on the issues which are important to you. Okay, hopefully, after Christmas, we'll be looking at more numbers. But as it stands now, at least we've got some police officers where we can actually do something to look at the problems in your areas. I know for yourselves here, your local PCSOs, I think they're exceptionally good, and I hope they're doing you a good service in your community. If you have any issues, they can come to us. We are based at Maltby Police Station, but obviously we're out on patrol every day in your area. So speak to us and let us know if there are any improvements or any things that you want us to do in your area. So just really that's here to say who I am. If anybody wants to ask me any questions about neighbourhood policing or crime in the area.
One question, if I may. You mentioned the team. What sort of area does that cover? You say local. Is that Hampstead?
Yeah, we cover all. Yes.
Including Maltby?
Yes, the south. We do cover a large area.
So it's the south area of Rotherham.
South of Rotherham. Yeah, we cover. So it is a large geographical area. That's just the way that it's been sectioned up. We have obviously Rotherham North, Rotherham Central, but we do have PCSOs who are dedicated specifically to this area, and now we have a team of police officers. There's not enough really to split them up geographically, I think, yet. They're better to work as a small team on issues that we have in areas, but hopefully as the team expands we can start dedicating police constables to specific geographical areas as well.
Supplementary question, if I may. what sort of time frame does that cover? Those are available, is that 24/7 or is that got to take shift patterns into?
Your neighbourhood police officers,
Yep.
as our team which are dealing with neighbourhood community issues, we work from 8 o'clock in the morning. The police officers work up until midnight. PCSOs work till 10 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
That's 7
Right.
days a week. Obviously, we have the response teams who are coming out. If you ring 999
Yeah.
or you ring 101, 24 hours a day.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Just a quick one. Dinnington Police Station. No doubt you're aware what's happening. There's a campaign to reopen that. That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
We had no problem with the SNT teams before. They provided a good service under the circumstances, cuts and etc. They worked perfectly well out of Dinnington Police Station. I had cause to speak to a police officer a few weeks ago, and the police officer said he would come out and see me, subject to being able to get a car.
Mm.
Now, whether that, I mean, I can understand that they have to come from Maltby, but when policing is being delayed due to having to wait for cars, it's not good enough.
Yeah.
It doesn't look good from your perspective, and it's not good from the public's perspective.
Mm.
So my message to you is, can we seriously look at opening Dinnington Police Station, or if it's too expensive to run, something like some form of small office in that area, not the one not 1 day a week in the resource centre.
Yeah. The closure, possible and reopening of Dinnington Police Station is beyond me. That's, I think, up with the chief and the PCC now to decide what's going to happen with Dinnington Police Station. And obviously, as you mentioned, we do the drop-in events at the resource centre once a week. What we are looking at doing, because we are having one of our police officers is come through what you may have seen, it's in the press called the Police Now, which is more like they go on a specific problem-solving access course into the police. One of our officers is one of those officers. He will be based solely covering Dinnington. We are also looking at co-locating with our partners. So again, I'm looking potentially at Dinnington Resource Centre as being more of an office where people will work from over 7 days a week rather than just a drop-in. So these are things that we're exploring because we know that the public are saying, we want you to be out where we are in our communities. So it's something that we are working towards. So we're working in the right direction to achieve that.
Thank you very much. Are we right to...
Can we ask a question?
Does the council feel okay for members of the public to ask questions?
Yeah.
We'll just do Clive.
Can you explain how a neighbourhood watch team would help the policing in your local area? Because we, as an Anston council, we don't seem to back neighbourhood watch team very well.
You haven't got a neighbourhood watch set up in this area?
Backed up due to funding.
Oh, well, the coordinator for Rotherham Neighbourhood Watch, she ran an event last Monday. I know she's always keen at looking to set up new Neighbourhood Watch events. We work closely with Neighbourhood Watch across Rotherham.
That'd be helpful, wouldn't it?
Yeah, so if you're interested in setting one up.
Council, how helpful that would be if they would help with funding.
We already supply.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure of the ins and outs of the funding. I think it is something which I don't think it requires any funding from the council. I think it is that you purely work with the.
We put some things to let you.
Yeah.
Perhaps a free room.
If I may...
Right, I see. Right. Yeah. Okay.
I can advise actually, there's actually one I go to in Northampton. Got a lady in now, it's based Julie Donnelly. Yeah. We meet at the pub. It's run completely by volunteers. And I'd recommend joining it. In fact, I think the person, one that represents this area of the world is in Aston. So we do all their printing from Aston, actually.
Oh, brilliant.
And I do know it is all volunteer based. You do get given a lot of free stuff from the neighbourhood watch area.
Public's not getting it, you haven't got the funding.
It's volunteer based, that's the thing. So the
Yeah,
more
the
people that get involved.
leaflets were funded by, let's say, local parishes. No, you're not going to know, because you
What I'll do,
that's why
We're making false statements. That's why we should move on.
Clive,
what I'll do at the end, I'll give you
speak
some
into the microphone.
information what I've got, and and how I can help you with it. Because again, if it's, anyone can set them up anyway.
As all I'm saying, if the council put a bit of funding out there to neighbourhood watch, to lease it,
You're making misleading statements, Mr.
Yeah.
Campbell, because we do support the Neighbourhood Watch. We support Southampton Neighbourhood Watch.
Yeah, I feel like to answer some of these criticisms because the parish council supports Southampton Neighbourhood Watch. We support them with the printing, etc., etc. I support them as a borough council with money. I supported Woodset's Neighbourhood Watch. And I spoke to Mrs. Donnelly last year to help her set up the one at Northampton. I wasn't aware it was up and running, but I'm more than happy that it is because we need one in that area. So to say that we don't help out, it's not true.
The one at Southampton is finished.
Not that I know
Well,
to.
well,
Well, good for you. I'm happy for you. But what I'm saying is, I don't know whether it's finished or not, but up to last year, the parish council was still helping with the printing costs, etc., etc. And I think Jonathan, we funded them last year to several £100 to keep it going. Now, if that's finished, then that's unfortunate. But we need it. If it's finished, we need it setting up again. But I'm glad the one at Northampton is going, and I think we probably could do with another one given the size of the village, because the North and Southampton geographical split is too big to cover it.
Just being clarified as well, the clerk confirms that Brian Swansby, who runs the Southampton one, how it works at coming into the office, do the copying, and we paper over there, copying whatever. Maybe that's how it works. Are there any more questions from members of the public? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Do you want your...
Appreciate it. Thank you very much indeed.
Am I okay to go, or do you want me to hang on a bit longer, or...?
Hang on, please.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
You want to, actually, Colin, we've got one or two more speakers actually. We've got Gary from Rapid Relief Team. So a short presentation.
Sorry. There you go. Thank you. Good evening. I'm known by some of the public and some of the council. I'm Gary Hughes, local resident, family man, 3 children, 3rd generation in a family business. But on the charitable side, I'm a team leader for a charity called the RRT, which stands for the Rapid Relief Team. You may have heard of. The RRT is a global charity, strong in Australia, New Zealand, North and South America, and the UK and Europe. Bring it down to a local level. The RRT's, I'm a local team leader. I look after 10 cities made up and towns made up of 10 to 15 core team. There's 10 team leaders within the UK, making up 1,500 volunteers in the UK. So very, very active. The strapline for the RRT is community, compassion and support. There's 2 sides to the RRT. One side is a reactive role and the other side is a proactive role. And on the reactive role in the UK, we've been actively involved in incidents such as the Manchester terrorist attack. I did nights over there, supporting the community and supporting the police service. We were down at Glenfell Tower, within Corndorf area, providing refreshment for the emergency services, and we were down at Borough Market. So that's some of the bigger reactive events. More locally, I have a meeting pending with South Yorkshire Fire and Rescue to set up an MOU. So we work with local emergency services to provide refreshments. So we set up an MOU which will include agreements like the area we cover and the number of pumps. So that's something we're working on. And then from a more proactive point of view, we work with other charities. So nationally, we're working with British Heart Foundation, Cancer Research, Macmillan, etc. To give you an example, we're running a campaign at the moment called Bag It and Beat It with British Heart Foundation, and we've done that. This is our 3rd year, and this year we will donate £400,000 to the British Heart Foundation through the RRT and the campaign for the Bag It and Beat It. So more locally, bringing it down to your doorstep, we're working with Bluebell Wood Hospice. We have done for a number of years. We've done our 3rd Colour Dash event with them at the Roller Valley, where they net an income of between 60 and 70,000 on that event. It's their biggest event. As you know, their running costs are circa 3 million, and they rely solely on voluntary work and giving. So we actively work with them. We donate water, we offer their marshalling services, and we also work with the likes of Shiloh on the homeless. So we were there just last month for their grand opening, provided a meal for the community and the homeless, and we're getting into an agreement with them to do something ongoing, month by month, of going in there, using their canteen facilities to provide meals. So that's a little bit about the RRT. I wanted to introduce that to the council and the public. I know we're known by some. We had a request last Thursday through the parish council, a referral, should I say, from a complaint from a local resident regarding litter in the, is it Whitegate Park, was it? Whitegate Park and this adjacent woods. And we mobilised a team of 8 on Saturday morning, and we did 2 hours and we pulled 30 bags of litter out of there, and that's being collected hopefully today or tomorrow by Rotherham for the Street Pride. So just some examples there of what we're doing at a local level. And if anybody's got any questions, I've got some flyers on leaflets. If anybody's got any questions, I've got.
I think just as well, you missed one really important one. Now, last year, the volunteers for the bonfire night were made up by this group. The bonfire night would not have been able to run with the volunteers we had without this group. So they are a brilliant resource to have.
Yeah, the collection as well. They got a share of the collection.
That wasn't necessary. So I would recommend, if you've got any events or anything that charity events that these people do, more than willing to help.
Yeah, thank you. And I believe we've been invited to offer our services again,
yes.
And I've confirmed that we will be able to do that. One thing I would like to say is that as a charity, we are in the UK with 1,500 volunteers, and we have 1 paid member of staff who looks after some admin work for us. So 1 paid member of staff, 1,500 volunteers across 10 teams made up of 10 cities, towns each.
I have a question. Excuse me. Later on tonight, we're probably discussing a very, very important planning application that affects the village.
Yep.
That application is from the group known as the Brethren Church. Can you tell me what your organisation's relationship is to that organisation?
Sure. The RRT is made up of members of the Plymouth Brethren Christian Church. We've got absolutely nothing to hide there. I hope we've made that clear all the way. And as a local resident and a member or a volunteer of the RRT, and having 2 sons myself that are into football, we will be 100% behind that and in full support of it, and I hope the local community are, and I hope the local council is.
So the reason I ask that is for clarity and openness, because we weren't aware you was coming to speak tonight. I've just got a couple more questions. One is the RRT a separate charity to Ellsworth Acres Limited, or charity, whatever it is? Is it a separate organisation?
The RRT is a standalone charity, and for charitable reasons, the UK stands alone from other regions globally.
Right. The reason I've asked that question, because I think it's quite important, is, again, you just endorsed them, which I don't see anything wrong with that, but in the planning application, it makes it quite clear that the RRT will be getting some form of storage capacity in the new planning application. And I was just wondering why the church application would be given storage accommodation to other charities, shall we say. That's all I want to know.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks.
I think the short answer to that is that the RRT is made up mainly of the Plymouth Brethren.
I knew that, I just wanted to...
Yeah, no, that's absolutely fair. We obviously have, we use video producers, we use photographers.
Not that it's relevant. I know.
Sorry, I didn't catch the question, sorry. Of what? No, I have no problem with religion whatsoever. I was making the fact that in the planning application there makes reference to the charity RRT, which is a complete separate charity to the people putting the application in. And without being rude, I think it's a bit of a coincidence that members of the Brethren Church have come to speak tonight when we wasn't aware of it. That's my point of view. But I assure you, I assure you, I have no problem with religion or different groups of religions at all. I treat all religions with the same.
Thank you for coming.
Well, you can disagree, but you don't know what I think. End of the day, I treat all religions the same.
I'd like to thank you for coming anyway.
The simple answer to that is, I'm a member, and my family are a member of the Plymouth Brethren Christian Church, and I'm a team leader for the RRT, and I've personally made a request that a facility is on that site for storing some equipment. We will gather there, hopefully, on a regular basis, in the evenings, and there will be a store there for some of the equipment. I'm here, I'm a member of the Plymouth Brethren Christian Church, and I'm a team leader of the RRT, and I've got nothing to hide.
Thank you for being honest.
Alright?
I value everything, especially for the bonfire night.
And if the council's got anything else that they want to draw on us for going forward, we're here for the community, and we've been here for a long time, and the reason we've only recently come to your attention is because I've personally only moved into the area just over 2 years ago, and I'm a team leader and I'm passionate about my own community.
Can we move on, please?
So I'd highly recommend to use them as a resource, everybody. I'd like to thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
With council's permission, we do have a gentleman from the anti-fracking group. So with the council's permission, I think it would be good just to have a quick presentation. Is that all right? Very good. Yeah, thank you. All right.
Oh, right. Good evening. I'm David Burley from Maltby. Don't blame me for that. We started up Frack Free South Yorkshire 4 years ago. The objective was to raise awareness. We believe in democracy, and we think democracy happens when people have an informed choice. So what we do is we raise awareness and educate the alternative view to fracking. I see you've got some INEOS brochures there. We've got ours as well. Good timing, wasn't it? You will be aware of the INEOS's intention to, or plans to, drill an exploratory well for shale gas at Woodsets. That's in addition to one at Harthill and Martley and Eckington, and there may well be more. But people need to be aware. We will be holding a public meeting in Anston and also one in Dillington in the next 2 or 3 months. We'll be reaching the whole region anyway. We've had one day at Woodsets where we had 3 presentations in one day, and we got 500 people in, and we're offering our presentation to you. It takes about an hour and a quarter plus questions and answers, but it's there if you want it. But we're offering an alternative view because people need to see both sides. Any questions?
Yeah, can I,
yes, sir.
I attended your presentation.
Oh, right. Okay.
On the afternoon, and I know it was absolutely packed. I would urge councillors to take up the offer just to hear, say the other half of the coin. I'm distributed those. I'm not an INEOS fan. These were.
I saw you hand them out. Yeah, I know.
They were given out at the meeting at the Woodsets Parish Council.
That's fine.
Okay, this is really
of course,
information for councillors from that. So it's not a marketing ploy.
I know.
Of INEOS, so
I know.
Don't take it.
Sharing information is the right thing.
Can I just? You say about the fracking from Maltby. Is that an official anti-fracking group you represent?
What do you mean by official?
Well, there's lots of people corresponding with us over fracking, and I'm trying to find out is there some organisation or is it just individuals like yourself? Who do you represent? You said you're from Maltby.
I represent anybody who wants to join us or work with us.
So you're part of a group?
If Frack Free South Yorkshire.
I'm not asking anything sinister.
No. I mean, if individuals write to you, then that's up to them. It's you know.
Can I just make a quick comment?
It's not in my name, but go on.
Quick comment, and I might be making it later because I think we're having a discussion. What I'm seeing at the moment is lots of letters and correspondence from people from the anti-fracking side. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion, but what I'm seeing in some of these letters is comments that are probably not true or not proven. And the way to persuade people, at some stage, we're lucky at the moment, we've already refused the seismic testing in Anston.
Yeah.
So we're lucky at the moment, we haven't got an application. But maybe for other people in these anti-fracking groups, if they're dealing with maybe councillors, could I ask them to look carefully at what they're presenting to people? And what they present should be based on facts, not on scaremongering. Because if you start scaremongering, people are just going to switch off. If you have a case, which I believe there's a case on both sides, it needs to be presented and backed up by facts, not by scaremongering. That's all I want to put out.
I agree, and that's what we do. But what individuals do in the community is up to them.
The message to everybody is...
Absolutely right. Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah. INEOS have actually commented that our leaflet is misleading because it's based on experience in America. They haven't said it's not true. If it was not true, they'd have said so.
I'm not going into the argument now, but
No.
the system they're going to use in England is different to America, so I don't see what they're basing the facts on.
The geological strata in the States is totally different to the UK.
Yes, but it's more heavily fault. Yeah.
Most of the evidence so far, I have an open mind.
Good.
Most of the evidence so far is anecdotal from North America. I've spent time in the States. Wholly different geological structure. They do not have shale between 2,000 and 5,000 metres below their ground. They have a lot of sand, they don't have shale. And there's fracking and there's hydraulic fracturing. So are people protesting against fracking or hydraulic fracturing? Then that's never been brought in. They've never mentioned it.
I'm not with you.
Just to stop this going to a debate.
There are several thousand wells in America that are hydraulic fracking shale rock.
Colin.
The environmental safeguards in the States are wholly different.
I accept that, yeah. I accept that. Yeah.
Just to stop this going into debate.
I accept that.
You need to shout up loud.
I'm not a very shouty person, today.
Could I just make one comment? What we always say in our presentation is several times, don't go on what we say. We're just triggering people's thoughts to know what to look for. We always say, make up your own minds, because that's democracy. Absolutely right.
I think that's a good one to finish on, Mike.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Public session. Can I leave these with you?
By all means.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. Sorry, No, so I'll work through this bit when we start.
Are you going to do public session?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. See you, Caroline.
Stay for the fracking question later or
You can stay.
That's entirely up to you, but the only thing is you won't be able to speak until, in fact, you won't be able to speak at all, I'm afraid, she's not a resident of the parish.
Excuse me, non-residents can speak. Yes.
Thank you.
See you.
To allow one question per elector of the civil parish of Anston on a topic for which the parish council has responsibility or for which affects the parish. So I'll take everyone's questions, write it down, and then we'll get back to you. Start on the left and work his way right. Right then, Gordon.
I'm asking,
Just yours. What's the question, please, Gordon?
I don't agree with, I've had two letters, I don't agree with them.
Okay. Can I ask which ones are in reference to, if that's all right?
Sorry?
Can I ask which ones are in reference to, if that's all right?
One is from the person of the council, the other is from the senior administrator.
And at which point don't you agree with them, can I ask, just so I can make, at which point don't you agree with them, sorry, just so I can make,
Well, a lot has been damaged. One of these letters says definitely not by the council, and the other one says it may have been done by the council. I had a witness until 5 weeks ago
Sorry.
Witness for damage.
That's, thank you very much. So another question, sorry, Kevin? Oh, we're working the way around. Yes, we'll come back to it. Thank you. Yes, Kevin.
Can I just ask now, if Clark has to justify the letters to council before she sends them, how come you can invoke the suspension? You can invoke the suspension now, that hasn't come before council.
So it's, just say that again, sorry, Kevin, just so I make sure I've got that right.
If the clerk needs to come to the council before she sends a letter to the MP to have that back so it can be sent, how can the same clerk suspend the contractor without bringing that issue to the council?
I think, Kevin, we've actually got that as a topic listed down the agenda.
That's later down,
Would you be, well, I think that might answer your question, it'll let us discuss it a bit better as well. Would you be happy to wait until we get to that point on the agenda? Then when we get to that point, you won't be able to answer on that topic, it will just be discussed a bit, but you can ask about the question at the end of the meeting as well, as part of this meeting. Is that okay? Thank you.
Confidential, so we won't be able to.
Okay. Actually, okay, well, just means also, it will be going to confidential.
No, well, I think it's confidential, it's confidential at last meeting. And last meeting, you asked me if I wanted this matter into confidential, and I specifically said I didn't want it to. I want the public to know the reason why I was suspended, or what for, and I want the council to justify that suspension. If the council wants this into confidential matter, at the end of the meeting, I'll refuse to move it from the hall, because there'll be no confidential matter, and I will release all the details I've got to the press.
I'm sorry, that's what we have to do for what we've got for our statutory.
Well, that's where you want to do it, that's where we'll do it.
We can actually answer the question which you've asked there. If that helps.
Do it that way if you want.
Has anybody else got any more questions? Sorry, yes, what's your name, sorry?
It's Gareth Russell from Southampton. Just one question, so I got two.
It's just the one, I'm afraid.
I'm trying I'm linked with Anston Rangers, so I just want to know that the council are aware of the planning application RB 2017192 in for a new home club to the football club and a church on Common Road, incorporating improvements on the crossroads, Victoria Road. Is the council aware that this proposal will not constitute anything or affect the precepts?
I'm sure you highlighted on my agenda for a bit later down the meeting. So again, are you all right waiting until that?
Yes, sure.
Are there any more questions? Can I ask? Everybody? Brilliant. Right. Gordon. So, you know enough about this topic,
no, I was going to propose that we're at 7:34, that the council has the option to reply to questions in writing, and I think some of the, just about all of the questions that have been asked will most likely be at least partially answered in the meeting. I was going to propose that the council reply in writing.
Second up.
All those in favour? Okay. Just because of the late part of the meeting, we are going to get back to you, but we'll get back to you in writing in regards to that.
People will be waiting until we get to it.
But if you'll discuss throughout the meeting.
Just before we move on, can I just, Mr. Jarvis, them letters you received, they come by email? No. Do you have copies with you now? Would you like to give me a copy of them letters sometime so I can have a quick look? I'm in charge of the allotments working group, so I have an interest, as it were. If you're still here, if you would, yeah, thanks. Applications. So we've got for a full.
Yes. So, to address any questions?
Number
I thought, Drew, do you want to start in now? Shall I?
Can do. If you're done, if you're
The point out everyone, Andrew is the chairman, and just around it. No, yes.
Your other persona now.
Anybody not signed in? Miles,
We will.
copy of that.
They're brilliant reasons.
There might be, but I object strongly to being included in their newsletter.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Apologies, I was late. I ended up being on a slightly later train and got here at 10 past. My apologies. I will try and press on through this because we've got quite a lot to do today. Apologies for absence. We've got those in the book this week. John Allen and Philip Matthews. Can I have a proposer and seconder for those?
Proposer and accept.
Thank you very much. All those in favour? Just keep your hands up, thank you. Okay. Soon to disclose members' DPI or personal interest in any item to be discussed. John.
Item 7, which is the planning matters, because I'm on the planning board, and it wouldn't like to be swayed either way for anything that goes to the planning board. 9.2, which is about the Anson Community Woodland Group constitution, because I'm the chairman of that group. And 9.24, it's about the biodiversity policy, which is my item. And 9.25, I think, because it's about tree planting in Ratford Meadows, I presume lots of trees have already been planted.
Any others?
Yeah, I've got item 7, which is planning, which is RB 2017-1149. It's not actually near me, it's on the same street. And item 9.3, I think, I declare a personal interest in that.
Any others? Proceed.
I know the neighbours on the Oval. Which one is that?
Item 7, RB 2017-1149.
Brilliant, thank you very much. Item 3, to identify items which the press and public may be excluded. I have a few on here, particularly some of the urgent ones. We have the ones that I got: 9.3, 9.6, 9.11, 9.22, 10.2, 10.7. I have to slow down. I was have to go as fast as I could. So I had 9.3 potentially, because it was edited in the letter, but that's the one that's just come up in a question. 9.11, which is the least of the old 5.6. 5.6.
That's the quotes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on the roof.
Contractual, that.
9.8. I think that's quotes and contractual as well.
We've been there before.
We have been there before.
Yeah, I don't think that one's going to take any considerable time, but we could put that one into we'll take that one as well.
I'm happy to discuss it outside, but if it's going to start including quotes and contracts, it's going to be confidential. I'd say both of those. So what was it, 9.11?
9.11, which is the link to the old library.
Does 9.9 have to go in?
I don't think so, really. It's really, are we going to have it cut twice, I don't know.
All right then, sorry, what did you say? No, right, 922, which is what
Oh, it's not got
supplies.
a lease on it yet.
Right, can I...
We haven't got a lease on it according to...
We have 9.14, because I believe that's a confidential report from Yalik.
I think I disagree with that one.
Accept rules.
Confidential report.
The wording on it, though, the way it reads.
Once we've discussed that report, then it will be up to council to decide whether to release it. But there's confidential items in there.
What number is
Take that one,
it?
you'll get to it. Yeah, that'd be control of the public as well. Get to it.
What number?
9.14. Then we've got 922, which is contractual customer quote. We've got potentially 10.2, as it relates to staffing could be, may not, 10.1. Again, that's nothing particularly quotes or contracts. Just a schedule with them. Anybody have anything else?
Shall we take these as we get?
We needed to get a couple of those.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Confidential. So are we happy to put the items that we discussed
Yes.
as confidential? Take
I'll
the others?
propose it if you
Yeah.
like.
Apart from 9.22, there's only one supplier that we can use, and because they have the monopoly, we can't go to anyone else.
Yeah.
So it's not really, it is contractual, but it's not going to change the competition or quote.
We're still contractual. We're still contractual. So we take that one as we get to it.
Yeah.
There's a cost involved, Jonathan.
Just because there's a cost, it doesn't mean that it's contractual.
Okay, can I have a second for those? Motion second. Basically, the easy ones are in confidential session, the more controversial ones we'll take as we get to them, shout out as we get to them. Item 4, confirm the minutes of the meeting on Wednesday, the 2nd of August. Any comments? Yeah, I've got a comment on page 1 if I can, Chair. Yep. 07317, under authorised grants is none. What we're in fact is the meeting was suspended at 7:45 and resumed at 7:50. For our time future, if meetings are suspended and we're writing it in the agenda, we put in why it was suspended. Do you want to propose that we amend those minutes? Well, no, the true copy, but you said it's for additional information. We could amend it to reduce construction. What do you suggest? Well, if you want...
Well, I would.
What's it?
For our pound scales, I propose that we amend that to put it in to leave a paper trail for our meetings, what went off and why we had to do it for.
So are we proposing that means due to additional...
Yes, please.
Second.
Yeah.
I wasn't there, but I agree with the sentiment.
All those in favour of that particular amendment? Thank you. Anything else on page 1? Page 2. Proposer and seconder, please.
I think it's gone through.
I've got a question on page 2 of 2, please, Chair. Yep. First one is item 08072. I don't want to amend the minutes, but I'm just going to point out that I'm not happy that that particular item, we recommended by our legal advisors that we get a survey, and it appears that we've made a decision and ignored that legal advice completely. And there's 8081/17. We've also agreed a contract there for next year, which again, I don't agree with because
goes against financial standing orders, there should have been at least 3 quotes for that. So, again, we're going against standing orders and we're going against legal advice.
Could I just
no way to conduct a meeting?
clarify 08017? I don't think our solicitors recommended that. That was a resolution of council. The council decided today.
So what the solicitor, the legal advice was on about 080. 081, just making the point, our financial standing orders say we should have 3 quotes. And council, for some reason, have turned around and accepted a quote against financial standing orders.
Any comments? Proposer and seconder for those minutes. All those in favour? That's a majority. All those in favour? Thank you. Nothing on item 6. I imagine it's going to take us a little while to go through these. So item 7, to consider planning, licensing matters, transport issues, and to receive reports. So, comments, Jonathan.
I'm going to leave the room under standing order 87. Stakes, I must leave the room.
Thank you.
In foreign interest.
List 31.
This 31 0955. Could I suggest to councillors, unless they've got any reason to speak up, can I suggest we leave that to the planners because it's listed building consent. I think it's just probably rebuilding a chimney, but we've been listed in a conservation area. I would imagine the planning staff will be scrutinising it. Go on, Lincoln.
If I can just update you, it's actually underway and nearly finished. So this came out quite a while since. It was list 31, it goes back to August, July. It had gone past the planning department's conservation office. I think it's gone to grant the application with certain conditions, so it will have to comply. So as I say, the work's nearly finished from what I've seen.
Thanks, Mike. Anything else on the list? 31. Did you say this is on 31? 31. Anything else on 31?
We're just going to go through them.
Can we just propose that they're left to neighbours and planners if nobody has any proposal?
If we go through it quickly, we should be able to get through them.
You want to propose that we do that?
Right, I'll propose that 1141 should be left to the planners.
Second. Thank you. All those in favour? 1168.
Actually, that will be
Is that a conservation area?
down in Dale. Yes, I think so. There aren't many neighbours, but it was being dealt with by planners down in the list.
We'll leave that one to planners as well then. 1168.
Yeah, neighbours.
I'll second. Thank you. All those in favour? Thank you. 1114.
Can somebody tell me where that is? Deep Cars Lane? It sounds...
Very inaccessible. It's the one where you go down to Lindsay Dale.
Oh, it's down there.
Over the bridge. Goes up under the bridge. Up again, and it's somewhere out there in the middle.
It's out towards...
The railway line.
Yeah, out the back towards the canal.
I know where you are now. Yeah.
Shall we just leave that one to the... I would say neighbours, but I don't think they've got it. Shall we leave that to the planners?
Yeah. Second. All those in favour? Thank you. And finally on that list, we've 1149.
Neighbours and planners again.
Thank you, seconder. Thank you. All those in favour? Brilliant. Okay, list 32. 1129.
Planners again.
All seconder, unless anybody else has anything, all those in favour? List looking at one.
Mr. Chairman,
Two.
can I propose, please, list 34, this has been discussed at some length in the Parish Council. I would like to propose that you go round the table, give each councillor a maximum of 2 minutes, and then take the vote.
That seems like a sensible way of approaching it. Thank you. Right. You go last. Stuart.
Here we go again. Church planning application. I've read all the documentation on the plan application. I personally find nothing any different to what the last planning application were, and if anything, with the addition of the football pitches, is now, I believe, increased the vehicle journeys for the very reason it was refused last time. I don't want to use the correct word, I'm not very happy. From my point of view, I believe what's happened with this planning application is the Brethren Church people have, and I'm trying to choose my words very carefully, have brought on board the junior football team and are using, in my opinion, are using our children in this village and in other areas in order to get a planning application passed through. I'm not actually going to say much more on this, but I will be making an objection in a written statement to the planning board. I don't believe they've done anything more except add car parking spaces. They haven't addressed the issues that were there previously. That's all I'll say on that.
Steve.
Similarly, I find nothing that can change my opinion on this additional planning application, and I find it rather disconcerting that the will of the people expressed previously doesn't seem to carry any weight, and we seem to go on ad nauseum with planning applications. Sorry.
Ultimately, obviously, Robin will make all the decisions on this anyway, so there's no point getting into a big debate in here, I don't think.
Use the microphone.
I am using the microphone.
You're not.
Sorry, I've just had a bit more clarification from the clerk. We have been told this before. Please do avoid tapping your microphones because the amplifier doesn't...
Sorry, I was just... Yeah, I mean...
You have to speak into it, Dan.
Christine, just leave it. I've got it in front of me. That's the end of it. It's
No,
here.
you have to speak
I am
into
speaking into it.
Or it doesn't go onto the recording.
Well, this is half the problem with the council, isn't it? It's so petty, it's unbelievable.
No, it's not.
It
Can
is.
I ask you to...
have a problem when you're not here.
More pettiness again.
we don't have a problem
Ultimately,
when you're not
RMBC will make the decision on the situation regarding the church. And me personally, I am all in favour, and I think each councillor is only going to give their opinion. Are you in favour or are you not? We don't have any power in this village on major planning issues. I really don't see the point in having a huge discussion here tonight, and it would be a heated debate again, wouldn't it?
Can I ask, have you had any contact, past or present, with the
Excuse me,
Brethren?
I've been asked to have my 2
Yeah.
minutes and
Well, I
pass it
thought
down.
you'd finish, but I'm just asking if you've had any past or previous connection with the Brethren.
I just... Not got it.
Sorry, I'm allowed to ask questions.
Otherwise it will descend into chaos.
And I haven't got an answer, so we'll take it as that.
I agree with the sentiment, but I think symbolic here. I think it's important as well that they see support from the local parish council. I support this because it's providing a brilliant resource on what is scrap land. They're going to improve a road which I've had a car accident on Christmas Eve myself on. All the neighbours don't seem to have an issue with it. and we're going to have a resource for the village, because at the moment we don't really have a usable football pitch ourselves that the parish can provide. So this is something we can have in the village, which can be provided by a private source, which is why I'll always provide my support for this project.
Could we move on?
We only everyone maximum 2 minutes to speak. People are being relatively quick. We've still got a few councillors that no doubt want to make their views known. So we'll hear them. Colin.
Yeah. This is Greenbelt land. It's not the parish council decision, it's Greenbelt land. It's an RMBC decision, it's Greenbelt land. And twice before this application has been reviewed on the ground, there's Greenbelt land and there are traffic management issues. I quite agree with my colleague that as a parish council, we don't have any powers, whether we support it or whether we oppose it. The borough council will make the final decision. I also support my colleague here. I too have concerns that in this application this time they're bringing in or they're using a child's football, a young children's football team, which wasn't mentioned before. Furthermore, they seem to have increased the number of car parking spaces since the last application, and that is all I've got to say.
I actually attended the presentation in February by this Gospel Hall improvement, if you like. I was noted very much that the majority of attendees at this presentation were either male members of the community or people who had some interest in it from the football club, and it appeared to me that it was a Gospel Hall disguised as 6 football pitches. I also have concerns that the information that's being given is not correct data, in that the traffic report is not up to date. I know for a fact that there have been 2 accidents at this site in the last year, which is actually not on the statement. I am also wary that Robert Morell, Senior Planner, stated in September 16, that the development does not fall in industrial business allocated sites. Gospel Hall is inappropriate development, and that special circumstances will be required to overcome inappropriateness of development in Green Belt. The special circumstances would involve the football pitches being available, and that is the special circumstances that is now being given leverage to this development, which again I am totally against.
I just feel, reading through, that what's been is it something being wrongfully put down and disguised? Is it a church? Is it a football club? And it doesn't seem to clarify one way or the other. It comes across rather that under the name of football it's under a church, or is it under a church or under a football club? But and that, I know where it's going to be, and it's, me personally, it's a nightmare as it is. But as Mr. McConaughey has said, it's not our decision, it's RMBC, so we can go out there all night, but they make the decision, we can't.
Thanks, Phil. Just to clarify, the last application in 2015 was 144 car spaces on the site. This is now 333, which is a massive increase in traffic that's going to be using that area. I've still yet to go through the application, but I don't see anything different that's been put forward from the last 2 occasions. It doesn't address any of the traffic management issues. We've had somebody said about the local authorities' view on this. Their view is that they don't want it developing, it should stop part of the green belt, and that's also the planning inspector's view when he put his report in February of this year, which left this in the green belt. It also took the proposed employment and business development out at Todwick, which was on green belt. He took that out because he didn't want all this to become an urban sprawl. The parish council has consistently objected to development on Greenbelt, on Pennypiece Lane, which is earmarked for another 38 houses, which also impacts on the traffic on that area. We've got 8 properties being built on the Raceway View, I think it is, site where the Funfair people live. That's added traffic on there already. This is added on since the last application. The roads in that area are totally unsuitable in my view. Nothing's changed, so I won't be supporting the application.
I'll be quick. I think we've heard both sides. I don't really have a huge amount to add, other than that I think there are two issues here. I think we must separate the religion from the planning application, and I'm not sure that everyone is necessarily doing that, members of the public, councillors, etc. So Clive, Jonathan and I went to the installation of the new vicar only the other week. I'm an atheist. I went anyway. So do other members. I think we need to separate out that religion from the underlying planning application itself and consider it on its merits as a planning application. It is in the green belt. There's very little we can do about it in any case, either way. So I suggest that we just leave it to the planning inspector and leave it to the borough. Stuart, is it a point of order, personal explanation or proposal?
I'm making a proposal.
No, you're making a proposal, thank you.
Right, my proposal is that the parish council objects to planning application RB 2017/1192. I'll give you this if you don't get it, Clerk. On the planning grounds that no special circumstances has been given to build on Greenbelt land, and that no serious improvement to the transport plan has been given, and travel journeys at the junction of Common Lane has been increased.
I think we've had sufficient debate. Does anyone want to amend or second that proposal?
Well, can I?
Second.
I'll second it, but can I think last time when we objected to the set of resolutions that we put forward, I think if the clerk refers back to those, because as far as I'm concerned, there would be this change. It was on planning grounds, planning grounds and traffic. So I think the clerk was back in that, you can use that as a basis for the objection. Sorry, do you want to second for that?
Yeah, you seconded it.
Brilliant.
Okay, no other...
Could you just clarify that if this passes, so we haven't voted, that the clerk will be writing to object?
If it passes.
Yeah, just to clarify that it said will go.
Okay, we're happy for the
Yeah.
All those in favour? A recorded vote is requested.
If you're in favour of
This is to object.
Objection.
right way around.
So you must be recording it. Because it's contentious.
Yeah, it's all right.
I'm going to propose that. Record a vote on it. Propose it.
You say you want to record, or somebody else done it?
No, we
There was
don't.
nothing to be recorded. I oppose that.
Don't surprise me.
Oppose the recorded vote. I'd rather have it proposed that there's no animosity then.
I don't think you can.
Stuart, are you happy with
Right, sorry.
Your suggestions will cover Stuart's original proposal. We're just firming up the wording a bit, but Clive's suggestions will cover it's effectively the same proposal as before the previous development. Traffic and...
Yeah, the main thing is to object to it, and then other things will follow on from there.
The green belt is the traffic.
The traffic situation is actually going
Not
to be
all
worse.
day, every day. Not all day.
Please, sorry, you don't have the right to speak at this stage. It's just a proposal. It's just a proposal. It could fall. It could, it could stand. At this stage, it's not that to be involved. Okay, so the proposal is to reject planning application RB 2017/1192 on the grounds of it being Greenbelt land and due to traffic concerns around traffic flow. If it passes, the clerk will include Clive's comments and our response from the last time this came before the council.
Okay. Councillor Benson, for or against or abstain?
What is?
I'm just trying to think, the proposal
Four
would
to
object to it.
four to
The proposal
object.
is to object, so therefore I support it.
4 to object and against to oppose.
Councillor Bowles?
If you're voting for, you are voting for to object. Okay. Against.
Okay.
So for is to object. Against is not to object.
That's what we're, thank you.
Councillor Graham? For. Councillor Ireland, not that? Councillor Jepson? Councillor Manship?
Again.
Councillor Sadler? For. Councillor Smith?
Against.
Councillor Tarney? Councillor Thorne?
4.
Councillor Thornton?
4. Shashi?
So that's carried.
Right. Can I make another proposal in conjunction with that? Right. I've heard a couple of comments saying that the parish council has no influence over these. We actually do, because on the Harry Croft application, which was again quite another important one, myself and Clive both attended the hearing panel, and I'm not saying we got it cancelled, but we were there to put our views across on behalf. Clive as an R&BC councillor, and I was authorised to put the council's official view, and I believe it may have had some influence. So I don't agree with the comments, it doesn't make any difference. Can I make a proposal that I be allowed to represent the parish council at the planning hearing in order to put the council's objections to the planning committee? Well, other councils can do it, but I'm quite happy to take. Obviously, the comments I will make will be based on what the council says, and if any other councillors have got any issues, I'm quite happy to speak on behalf of them as well.
Other councillors can attend if they want and ask for a right to speak. That is there.
I think on the objection form, you can indicate if you want to attend the meeting and speak. Yeah, but anybody can go, Stuart. Yeah, any member of the public.
So that's my proposal, Chairman, that I be asked. Can I? Chairman, firstly, can I ask members of the public not to speak? And secondly, that's my proposal. I'm asking council if I can be authorised to speak on behalf of the council at the planning meeting.
Any quick comments? All those in favour? It's carried.
Thank you, councillors. Thank you.
So RB 2017 1249, which is first floor side extension 83 Quarry Lane.
Can I say that just a side extension, we say we'll leave that to the planners and the neighbours?
No, that's 1245, yeah.
All those in favour? RB 2017-1245, demolition of existing porch and erection of two-storey front extension.
Yes. Yeah, I'll second that.
All those in favour? Thank you. And list 36, RB 2017-1323, erection of front porch and portway.
Again, should we leave that to neighbours and planners?
I think we're already doing it.
Sorry.
You're already built.
Okay. These were circulated. All those in favour? Thank you.
There's one come through today,
So there's one that's being circulated at the moment.
yeah, it's 1314, pruning of 45 trees at Jones Home.
Can I just ask some questions? can I just ask some questions, see if anybody can throw some light? It's to prune 3 groups,
Yeah.
approximately 45 trees of Lombardy poplar.
Yeah.
Is that inside the planning area, or is that Crowgate?
No, that isn't, sorry.
Yeah, go on.
Having looked at the plans that I had when we met with Jones, those trees are on the front, down the drive. They are not on Crowgate, because I looked very carefully to make sure they weren't the ones that were on Crowgate. Their intention is to reduce them in height by 25% to make them 15 metres instead of 20 metres, I think the word is. It might be feet, but and it's 25%.
Can I, unless somebody else wants to speak, can I suggest that what we do is we leave this to the tree conservation officer. They have got tree preservation orders on, so they will be looked at quite carefully. And in the past, they seem to have made some quite sensible decisions. So I would propose we leave it to the planning.
All those in favour? Thanks very much. Somebody get John?
Yeah, leave it. I hope he's not been outside and told him what's going on.
Unfortunately, we do. We have 6 to grant today. To authorise the sealing of documents, namely the grant of exclusive rights of burial for the burial ground. 6.
Can I just say, but just them councillors, I don't know if you know, but when people are buried in the church, in the cemetery, we have to authorise it, and 2 councillors have to sign the documents, and it can be any 2 councillors, and all you're doing is just signing to say you authorise it on behalf of the council. These documents will be looked at in times and history.
Thank you. All those in favour?
Are you signing the second lot? Are you signing? Yeah, that's all right, yeah.
It's all right, implied signs, and I'll sign the rest. Okay, 9, to consider matters from previous meetings. Councillor Watcher.
Yes, apologies. It's to accept that. To change the date for the bonfire night to the 3rd instead of the 4th, and to apologise for my mistake last time. I proposed the 4th when we actually agreed the 3rd. I'd written it down wrong on my pad. So this is to amend that mistake.
Right, so what you're saying to us, you want us to correct the wrong date, so basically proposing that we have the bonfire night on Friday the 3rd of November.
Yes.
Right,
Yes.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Also, we will need volunteers, so just keep that date in your diary, please.
Miles, can you, is there a reason why we've moved it? Wasn't it going to be on the Saturday?
Yes. Partly because it was cheaper to do it on the Friday, and it was my fault for writing it down wrong in my diary, because we're not paying weekend rates, then we're paying Friday.
I like
rates.
thinking. Can I just ask you, does that clash with Woodsets?
It does. It does this year. It is a one-off kind of thing. Next year it'll change, because, well, I don't know actually.
That's all right. I appreciate the fact that it was going to cost us an arm and a leg.
All we need to do is make ours better.
Let's just hope the travel from Woodsets to here to come and see how big a better bonfire.
Proceed to the vote on that one.
Well, if he starts asking questions, just ask him to leave, because he's not following standing orders. But
I haven't permitted other members to...
No, why didn't you explain to me before meeting continues why the public hasn't been given the chance to ask questions on planning? Every meeting we've had that.
I thought Councillor Melchett had read that out on the agenda.
somebody's going to have to stand up, because we're not following standing orders.
We are now in council. The session's gone. It's going to be council business, please.
Phil, don't just walk through.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you, Phil.
You're not following procedures. Planning applications normally have a public session.
It's outside the meeting, so we don't have to follow it.
Planning applications are normally considered in the public session, which is outside the council meeting.
No, it's separate.
I
It's
imagine
separate.
Councillor Melchett.
If I stand up, I'm going to start getting attacked. He's disrupting the meeting again, Chairman. Can I ask him to, can you warn him to stop?
I didn't do it, I don't know what to do it to do.
Chairman, we yet again have another disruption of the meeting. every meeting,
I'll stand on public behalf.
every meeting, it happens again. Mr. Kavanagh knows the
And
rules.
Mr. Thornton has to stand up rather than the council. Or Phil, if you tell me to.
Gentlemen, please. Take action on the start. Sorry? You take any actions on the description of the meeting?
I'm going to ask you to stop. Can you,
I'm asking a question, Chair.
if you wish to...
I'm asking a question online. We haven't had questions.
Councillor Manship asked quite clearly if people had any other questions.
I'm standing on the point
I'm
of
going to
order.
ask you if you will stop. He may not have read out the item word for word, but he did invite members of the public to ask questions. I would normally read through it. I wasn't chairing at the time. If it is something that's very urgent, I suggest you write to the council, raise it at a meeting, or there's a section later on in the meeting where you can raise it. I have to say,
Well,
I'm rather fed up. I'm rather fed up of interruptions to the meeting from both members of the public and from councillors, and I would like you to desist.
Right, I'm standing on a point of order. First thing, Chairman, I object to the fact that you're accusing me of doing something wrong when I'm standing on a point of order, when in actual fact it's yourself who is not following
I'm not
standing orders.
accusing you of doing anything.
No, you're just mentioning councillors, and
I was
I'm
addressing it.
Right, can I ask, Chairman, we have rules on where these meetings should be conducted. Mr. Kavanagh's fully aware of them rules. Every single meeting we have, Mr. Kavanagh or others complains and disrupts these meetings. Can I ask that if members of the public carry on disrupting the meeting, that they be given a warning? If they ignore that warning, they'll be asked to leave. And if they refuse to leave, that the council considers calling the police to have them evicted.
You can always ask.
Please.
Phil, could you just ask where council stand at the same point of order that's standing to clarify?
That isn't a requirement. I'm going to ask you, that's a warning. I'm going to warn you that if you interrupt again, I will ask you to leave the meeting. And I will do the same for any member of the public who has previously interrupted this meeting.
Chairman, the question's been asked, it has been answered. Next one on the agenda, please.
Thank you.
Let's get on to this. I'd like to enjoy me.
No, we didn't get to.
We need to vote on that. We were interrupted before the...
Also, just to point out, I'll still be on my honeymoon on that day, so we definitely need more volunteers.
Okay. Are you not coming by?
Brilliant. All those in favour.
Does he want volunteers on his honeymoon?
I think so.
We're quite well. Where are you going, Mark?
Only Edinburgh, admittedly.
Oh, leave it.
I'll leave it there.
Forget it.
The venue for that particular council meeting. Brilliant. Okay, 19 to receive letter and constitution of the Manchester Community Women Group as requested by
Chairman,
Can I
I've given an interest in this one, so standing order states that I should leave the room, or shall leave the room.
Standing order state you don't have to leave the room, because you can make that decision.
You shall.
Very good. I was going to ask a question, but I can't now. But I'll make a statement. Right? Can I just put this to councillors? I'm a bit, I don't understand why he's left, because he has no requirement to. Right. I chaired a meeting. I think I could be wrong. It could have been January, February, maybe before. On when Councillor Ireland asked if he could plant trees at Crowgate. That meeting, it was pointed out that he couldn't plant the trees at Crowgate. He immediately changed his mind and asked if he could plant them at Rackford Meadow. During that conversation, there was some question raised about whether his group would be covered by insurance. I believed at the time that if a group is constituted, they would be covered by our insurance. The clerk double-checked that, and it appears that that statement now is not true. Constituted groups are actually not covered by our insurance. I was the person that asked for Councillor Ireland to produce a constitution, because I personally believed at the time that he didn't have one when he was telling us he did. That's all I can say, whether it's true or not. However, when I received a copy of the constitution, I was quite surprised to see that not only was it not signed, but the date of that constitution is all the 1st of January 2017. Well, the 1st of January 2017 is New Year's Day and a Sunday, and I find it very unlikely that that group or committee met on that day and authorised that constitution. Moving on from there, the council did not authorise the planting of them trees, which we'll discuss later, I think. It said it would authorise the trees in principle once we'd seen the constitution. We never saw the constitution before the trees were planted. I've watched the video back, and at no time did this council say that we were going to plant them, we were giving permission to plant them trees in principle. If all we're doing is receiving the constitution, all well and good, but I do believe that we haven't been fully informed of what actually went on and how proceedings have been done.
And Miles.
Okay. Always, I don't I've got big enough copies as it is, I know that, but don't worry about that. No, I know you say Stuart, but all it's just saying is, just basically to receive letter of constitution from the Woodland Group, as requested by Mr. Barris, that's what I say. And if that's the case, yeah, I'll propose that we receive that letter and the constitution.
I'll second it.
Okay. There was a backstory to it.
No, I'm seconding it.
You're
seconding it.
Brilliant. All those in favour?
Stuart.
At 9.3, so this was what we said we would discuss as we got to it, to amend or approve draft letter to Kevin Barron regarding a resident to receive confidential information by council.
Can I propose that goes into confidential session?
It does say confidential response.
Yeah, that's what I was reading earlier. I would propose it into confidentiality.
Okay, we've got a proposal. You have a second?
Yeah.
Okay, do we need any more discussion on that, ladies and gentlemen? Okay, all those in favour? Can you just stick your hands up for...
Is this going to confidential?
This is about to go in, put that into confidential session. Okay, thank you, Carrie. 9.4, to approve sale of lamppost hanging baskets.
Can somebody explain what that's about?
Yeah.
It's been on the agenda before, we've got some circle sprackets. We tried to shift.
Are these the baskets that are in the plastic? Let me just see if I can throw some light on things. Are these the old... Right. Are these the old hanging baskets that were up at the Crowgate changing rooms? Right. We've now got new hanging baskets, and previous to that, these plastic containers, because that's what they actually are, were the ones we used before, and obviously now we've got a new contract, we don't need to use them. Is there anybody asking to pay £5 each for these?
Yes, it's with the parish council.
Sorry, I thought you...
Right. And do we know what the full cost will be for what they want? Well, not cost to us, cost to them.
The cost?
Right. What are they proposing to buy them for?
£5 each.
And do we know what the total is?
They haven't specified the number in this, hasn't it? It has been specified before.
No, it hasn't.
Well, I mean, there's a... Pardon? Eckington Parish Council. Yeah, they're selling them. Can I propose... I don't think they're in the best condition. They can't be if they've been sat up in the changing rooms for years. Can I propose that we go ahead and sell the lamppost hanging baskets at £5 a piece to Eckington Parish Council?
Just for clarification, there are 60 pairs, so 120 at a price of 60 baskets.
Fair enough.
They're paying £5 each, it says on the agenda.
That's up for them to decide.
Can I second that motion?
Could I just ask, if that's to do with the contract and it's money exchanging hands, shouldn't that have been considered to go into confidential? Like
No, it's not a contract.
Yeah,
So
but,
it's a
but
request.
it's the same as some others that have gone as confidential.
Yeah, but it's not a contract.
So yeah, no.
We're approving.
Shall we go to the
sale.
vote then, Chairman?
Yeah, it's already approval, Joe.
Are we happy to proceed? Okay, it is on the agenda, it's in the public domain, so we can vote on it. All those in favour? Right. 9.5, and can I suggest that we also take this with 9.10, because both of them unite to the public session, hopefully it'll get them out of the way. Happy to do that. That's 9.5. Wow.
Which is a bit more that I wanted to add to it than what's on there at the moment. This sounds a bit bad, but is it possible to...
Could you use the mic?
Sorry, I can't hear you.
If it's available.
There is a bit more I'd like to add to that. Is it... I was going to ask if we could actually postpone that one to the next meeting.
Okay,
That's fine, thank you. If that's the word, yeah, thank you, Colin.
In that case, let's just carry on going through the agenda until we get to it. At 9.6 we've said we'll go to confidential session at the...
Do we have to propose that? We already done that.
We already did it. It was
right, okay.
Yes, we done the meeting because it was clearly confidential. 9.7 is not one that we put into confidential.
Again, we're approving a payment, it's not contracted.
Yeah, so it's approval, it's discuss or approve payment of £400 for management asbestos survey update for the parish hall and the old library. So it's more of an approval than a...
Can I just...
Get this out of the way?
Right, well, quickly, but I'll just come in with a comment. Right, I'm guessing, I don't know, but every so often we have asbestos, think, in the cellar and somewhere else. It's controlled, and this will we get it surveyed on a regular basis. I'm presuming this is a 3, 4, 5 year survey. What I've tried to get in the past is we're paying £400 for a survey, and I think also we have to pay for our staff to go on an asbestos awareness course every so many years. And the question I've asked in the past, and I'm going to ask it again, is rather than pay 400 for a, well, we might have to pay 400 for a survey. I would suggest we are seriously looking at employing somebody to actually take the asbestos out, and that will save us costings on future surveys, and also save us costs on sending our staff on asbestos awareness courses if we haven't got any asbestos.
Can I just clarify the clerk gave me a point of clarification. The asbestos awareness course is free, it's run by our FDC, but the rest and everything.
That's all right if it's free, but what I'm saying is we keep having to have this survey, and I think the common sense approach would be to let's get rid of the asbestos. Just let me, I've seen other hands up, let me just say this. I think, I'm probably jumping ahead, we probably will have to authorise the survey before we make a decision to get rid of it, so we know what we've got.
Diana, Christine.
Well done.
If the amplifier doesn't like tapping...
Right, I'm here. Can you hear me, Mother? How often do we have to have this survey, and how long is it actually current for? In other words, do we have to have it done annually, or is it actually, once done, lasts for 5 years? That's my question.
I don't know for sure, the clerk might be, but I think it's every, I don't know, I've got 5 years in my head, but I'm not sure, it could be 3 years. But it's an ongoing thing we have to do.
We don't have anything here, we could ask Michael, because he would be the last person to do it, so we could...
I think it's about 4 or 5 years ago.
Sorry. Shall I put you on the list, or you
Is it me? Is it me?
Oh, it's overdue, apparently.
I think also we would need a quote for the removal to balance out.
Very expensive.
well, we need a quote for the removal because it might be too expensive.
Well, I'm just pointing out.
Yeah, quite right to point it out. Yeah, right, sorry. Yeah, sorry.
Can I just make a couple of points? The thing is about asbestos, what's in there is in there. Nobody's adding any more asbestos in these days because it's not used. So what we've got is what we've got. I think it's a bit, to be fair, I think it's a bit of a racket this, because unless we do any construction work or start taking things out, we really don't need anybody to come along and identify the asbestos, because we already know where it is. If it's over a door head or wherever, it's still there. The thing is, once you start trying to remove asbestos, and I've been involved in schools before with doing this, it's an absolute nightmare. The cost is horrendous, because if you've got to start unpicking bits of buildings to take asbestos out, as long as it's not disturbed or drilled or sawn and it turns to dust, then, and it's, you treat it with respect and damp it down, and there's nothing really that, as long as you know where it is before you start any work, then that's as much as you need to know. But if you go down the route of taking every bit of asbestos out that we've got in this building, or probably that building, it's going to cost us a fortune to no avail. I think if you're working on the roof, then you would have to do that. If you were stripping anything off and there's asbestos there, that would come under the contractor's remit, and he would have to supply you with information, and you'd have to get it tested and taken away. But I think, as I say, if we've got to have a survey by law, then fair enough. But I'm not convinced that we should keep stumping up £400 every 2 or 3 years to tell us what we've already got, because we're not putting any more in.
So can I just cover with a couple of points? So we'll probably want to look at this when we're considering the toilet block anywhere, with the location of the cellar, which the library informs me is underneath that part of the building. It's just in the cellar, nobody's touching it or sort of going down there, so we could go back and investigate whether we really need to do it right now. Phil, Colin, I think Stuart's about to make a proposal after.
Anna, would you just, for clarification, you find out how often you have to the asbestos survey done for, please?
We can ask Michael.
Please, we need that so we know where we're standing for. I do know, because I've worked in education buildings, when I worked RMBC time, it's a minefield, and if it gets disturbed, it's unbelievable, and it is one heck of a cost for us.
Well, I'm sure it's 4 or 5 years ago. I recall speaking about it.
It was 3 at one time when I worked in education. It was 3 from RMBC buildings. If you could just clarify that, Michael, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Colin?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. 18 months ago, at a charity meeting, at which Councillor Thornton was also present, the RFO assured us there was no asbestos anywhere on this site. Now, if there's no asbestos on the site, and we haven't had any building works done, why have we got to have an asbestos survey at a cost of £400? There is no asbestos. He told us there is no asbestos going on the last report. Now, if we haven't had building works, why have we got to pay for an annual report when there isn't any?
There's definitely some in the cellar, Colin.
Sorry?
There's definitely some in the cellar, but not in the rest of the...
Can I just interrupt? I'm out of... All right. I'm a bit surprised. I don't recall the RFO saying that, but if he did say it, I'm a bit surprised, because I know that he knows there's asbestos in the building, because I've had conversations with him over it. So I'm a bit... There might be a mistake there somewhere.
If I can answer, Mr. Chairman, it was when we were discussing the replacement of the old workshop and garage, and I asked the question, was there any asbestos, and he said no.
In that building?
I know it's got standing order number 49.
Okay.
The question now be put. Let me go to the vote, please.
Well,
thank you.
we haven't actually got questions.
Oh, okay, well, that's it.
Could I make a proposal? Chairman, could I make a proposal, please?
Can I have a proposal? Stuart was there.
Yeah, that's fine.
Are you about to propose the same thing anyway?
Right.
I'm not sure yet.
I'll put my proposal, and I'm open to offers. I'm going to propose that we authorise the payment of £400 for the asbestos survey. Once we've got the survey, we will know then we've definitely got it or we haven't. I'm almost certain we have. And once we have that report of where it is and to what extent we have it, we then at a later date can make an informed choice whether we wish to just leave it in situ, if it's not disturbed it's safe, or whether we wish to spend the extra money to get rid of it and then save on costs in the future. So my proposal is to approve payment for the £400 for the asbestos survey.
So that is seconded by Miles. The proposal is to approve the payment. I was going to suggest a slight amendment.
Oh no, I'm open.
It's not an amendment, it's a question really. It says a management asbestos survey update. Which one are we updating? Do we have a previous?
We have previous reports.
So we've not built anything since, I think Clive mentioned this, we're not using asbestos, so we know where it all is, and to me it's a waste of money really.
Exactly, which is what I've just said.
Someone to tell us where it is again.
Which is what I've just said. We haven't had any buildings done.
So we have a proposal. I was about to make a slight amendment, not a substantive amendment.
I'm not supporting this.
Before actually
It's not our money.
payment, we check with Michael, we have gas Michael to investigate how...
There is no asbestos.
Are you happy just to amend your original?
Yeah, just amend the original
Procedures
proposal.
quicker.
Yeah.
See what's happened with that. So
I think we'd probably be wise to have it. And then we'll
Don't agree.
the proposal is to approve the payment, but subject to Michael's.
To have one.
No. Approve the payment subject to the RFO's input regarding previous.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. All those in favour? Thank you. Nine, eight. The question is whether this needs to go into confidential. It has got quotes.
Excuse me, Drew.
use the microphone.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yes, microphone, Christine, brilliant.
That is a very good idea, Stuart. Could you pass it round the table? Yeah, oh, good. Tiny minds. Yeah, where is this boat-up fencing? Where?
I get the feeling that you're
Is
the
it-
proposed it, Christine.
Where is it?
Right, well,
When you were talking about your dog was on the...
there's been some...
It came back under my name because
There's been...
it was easier to put it on the agenda, but I actually think it was your...
There's been some advancement since then. Is it? All right, yeah, don't show me.
Where's it going?
Right.
So the question we're answering is, does this need to go into confidential?
Could I, it might need withdrawing. Do you want me to tell you not?
Can I suggest that it goes into confidential? You're quoting, you've got 3 quotes in front of us.
You won't need the quotes if I tell you.
Well, it does involve possible contracts
Don't worry.
and other issues. So can I propose that...
Can I cancel it? Is it too late?
Let's go into confidential session and have a discussion.
You don't need to.
Bring Jonathan in, because he's been waiting for a while.
I was going to make a proposal with this, that we defer this pending any searches that we can find for any funding from places, because there is funding out, there's lots of funding out there, and I believe before we can make a decision, if I can come back with some areas where we can get funding from, then it's going to make it cheaper for us, and it's going to be an easier decision to make.
Should we just receive the quotes? Is that
Christine, why don't you just tell us what you're about to...
No, you don't want to know. I'm not going to tell you now.
Can I suggest that?
I'm just trying to get input from other
Right,
people on the...
look,
Please don't, because it was your microphone.
can I just say that the skate park has made some advancement with the project and with the funding, and in the future it may come about that the playground and other facilities will come into the same grant. Obviously, I can't give you 100%.
Is anyone desperate for boat-top fencing to be considered?
Well, I can withdraw it.
Right, my proposal is this, that we have 3 quotes before us. Can I propose that we, at the present time, we just receive the 3 quotes and leave them on file?
All those in favour? Thank you. I think after a year and a bit of this, I think I can do it to my book. 9.9. Councillor Jackson.
Right, we might have to defer this again, because I don't believe the licence agreement's been signed.
Do we? At least.
I'm just explaining, I mean, this went on ages, I think, it was on April time. All I was concerned about was we've still not got at this point in time we were still discussing the licence with Jones, and we might still be now. But the idea was to keep the grass county to the weather, to keep, well, I know, but the gist of it was then, was we kept it down, with 2 cuts here, kept it down to a manageable level. If we reverted back to a football pitch or pitches on there, because it's not used, then it wouldn't be as big a deal getting it down from probably that high as from that high. So things have probably moved on from them, but that was the idea when I put it down, was that we kept it under control for, you know, if it kept, as and when it comes back in future use. It's not that hard a thing to deal with, but I don't know.
Can we? I think this needs to go. I'm going to do it, but it needs to go into confidential session, because I don't think things have moved forward, and we can't authorise something that we don't own.
We do have an update for you.
Right. Well, does that warrant going into confidential session?
Yes, I imagine it does.
Right, so would you like to propose it then, Chair, because you've got the information I haven't?
Yeah, I propose that 9 goes into confidential session.
No problem at all.
All those in favour?
I forgot it. Yeah.
Sorry, just stick it behind us. You just need to vote for Martin. So if you are in favour, yeah, great. Sorry, Chair. Direction. 9.10, which was one of mine from a while back, it sort of tied in with the comment from Miles and his item. So we are subject to disruption. I'm not going to go into details because we all know about it already. We are subjected to discussion. Obviously, as councillors, we are filmed while we're in the meeting, and hopefully that helps to encourage us to behave ourselves whilst we're being filmed. The law says that it should protect vulnerable people in the building, and in the past we've received some guidance, advice that suggests that we perhaps should think about filming, we should think about, trying to get my words out, not filming areas of the public gallery because of the presence of vulnerable individuals in the public gallery. What I would propose is that we do film the public. We film specifically those who are asking questions at the meetings, and that also we require them to use a microphone when speaking, because at the moment the public viewing the recordings only get one side, because the public viewing the recordings can only actually hear us, they can't hear the rest of the public. So I would propose that we record the public gallery during the council meetings, subject to any exceptions required to protect vulnerable people, and that we also audio record as part of that film.
I'll second that.
Bill, you were about to say something.
It's just... Yeah, okay, sorry. Yeah, that was much. Right, I'll have to... But the thing is, we do need I want to get a negative area where if there is a member from at risk, that when they ask a question or not, that it can't be publicly seen then from a filming point of view. As you know, my own situation with my family, we're at risk with people. I'd like for us to have a place where if somebody comes in, that they can be for anonymity to anything for risk to be out of the way. No, okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, Clive, you're next.
At RMBC meetings, there's an item read out at the beginning anyway, asking people about filming, and that if you look at the videos from there, anybody that asks a question is filmed, but it usually also covers people in the background in the public gallery, so unless they move out of the way. it may be worthwhile, Anna, just speaking to a gentleman called James McLaughlin at RMBC, who's the Democratic Services Manager, and he'll probably be able to, I'm sure if you tell him the circumstances, he might offer you some advice or whatever, the long-winded speech they make, but it covers all those issues at full council meetings. Okay.
Just as a point of clarification, my intention there was to request that we film those who were speaking in public and in the public gallery. We've got Ben and then Stuart.
Yeah, I think Clive's answered answered my question. I had fears about who and how will this question of at-risk and anonymity apply to? How do we decide who it will be? Will it be upon request of the individual or what? I think we need that clearly defining.
Right. From what the chairman's saying, I don't think there's no intention not to provide for vulnerable people, as it were. Yes, we should film the public because of the disruptions. If a vulnerable adult, one would assume it probably comes with another person, one would assume. If there's a vulnerable adult or a child, if they're identified to the council beforehand, we will take provision to ensure there's protection measures put in place for that person or persons. I don't think we should have a permanent. Can I ask members of the pub stop interrupting? Yeah, there's low-level background talk. Right. In the past, this is my personal opinion, but in the past what's happened, we did have, some time ago, an area where the public couldn't be filmed. And in my opinion, there was members of the public who was deliberately sitting in that area and then giving verbal abuse to council and councillors and not being filmed. And that is one reason why I don't think we should have a permanent cordoned off area. However, if a vulnerable person or their carer, children or adults, make it known, we will take provision at a as and when basis.
It's been seconded.
That's fine with any vulnerable people making themselves known to the council, but because they're vulnerable, they may not want to make themselves known to the council. So I believe that we should have an area where people have an option to sit there and not say, can I sit out the camera?
But if they're vulnerable...
And just leave an area there. Optional. If you want to sit there, sit out the camera. Not a problem.
But if they're vulnerable, should not they be accompanied by somebody else?
No, that's a negative on that one.
We're providing a hiding place at the moment.
Yes.
Yeah. Can I amend my proposal to, I hope it sort of clarifies it, that to propose that subject to information from RMBC, we audio and video record members of the public speaking during the public session with the intention of being heard by the council.
Seconded.
So basically, people asking questions and people shouting in the public gallery.
Seconded.
Seconded.
So, question, Ben?
All of it.
Further comments? 8 seconds. All those in favour? Okay. 9:11 has already gone into confidential session. 9:12 to receive, discuss, letter from resident dated 20th of the 3rd, 17th.
Could I make a proposal on this? That receive the letter and the clerk is given the answers the questions which are asked of her at the end of the letter.
I suspect it will be very difficult to answer some of the questions that
Can I just come in?
This has not been seconded yet. I propose we receive the letter, and then the letter is answered by the clerk and any of those people above them who manage the clerk.
Right, can I...
Well, no.
Can I...
Just to correct that, we don't manage the clerk as a council. We are line managers.
I think so.
The chairman is the line manager of the clerk, and we can't tell the clerk what to do at all. So it still stands that our proposal received
Right, I want to have a speak on this. Right, are we talking about this letter from Mr. Estrada Higg? Right.
Yeah.
Before we go on and start voting, this letter, it does ask a lot of questions, but these questions go back to way before 24th of September, February. It goes way back to 2016. The problem we have with this letter, rightly or wrongly, we've had communications from a member of the public, and we've had another question tonight from Mr. Jarvis, I think it was. We've had a letter from a member of the public, and it's escalated over the last 12, 18 months. What we should be doing is we should receive the letter, write back to the person and say, we apologise for the extended correspondence and we wish to resolve it, and ask the resident to state what questions she would like answering and bring it back to council and answer the questions once and for all. The reason this letter is getting bigger and bigger is because we're not answering the questions that are asked, and it's as simple as that. We had it with Mr. Baker, we've got it with Mr. Estrada Higg, Mr. Jarvis has been tonight asking that he's not happy with the answers, so we need to answer.
I know he wants to speak. As a point of clarification, so there's two issues here. The clerk has asked the resident, I believe at least once, possibly several times, to clarify the question, and the resident just refers back to previous correspondence. I'd also highlight that there are emails mentioned that were sent to me in here. They were sent to me in a private capacity, and members can reply or not to correspondence sent to them in a private capacity, especially when it's of a vexatious nature.
Yes, Chairman, I'm concerned that this is going on for some length of time now. I think a line should be drawn underneath it. However, there is something in the conclusion of the letter which disturbs me, and that is the opinion of the author that we are ignoring the illegality taking place in this protected area. If we are acting illegally, as the author infers, before we do anything else, I would like to know what we are doing that is contrary to or forbidden by law.
The long and short of it is that we occasionally cut the grass on several shrubs on the green. And I know I'm likely to receive some correspondence.
I have been on the green and talked to residents, and they all have different views about individuals and what goes on there. But the allegation is that we are acting illegally. I'm not aware of how we can act illegally in this matter, and to make a statement like that, I believe, is inflammatory and possibly libelous.
And can we move on?
Yeah, I was just going to say that I second Jonathan's comment to receive the letter. I would say that I do think they have been answered. Just because somebody doesn't like the answer doesn't mean it hasn't been answered.
Okay.
Anyone?
So we've got two. Well, we basically had two of the same proposal, which is simply that.
I'm
shall
I answer it? If he wants to receive it, well,
does he want to receive it?
Well, I did say some other things as well afterwards. The proposal was to receive and allow officers of the council to answer accordingly.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Seconded. Sorry.
All those in favour?
Sorry, Clive, to receive and allow officers of the council to answer accordingly.
Can't be answered. They can't be answered.
No, all those in favour. You propose that we try to work.
And I think that I'll give you the floor. You mentioned the short. Sorry, it was Diane. the short remedy to that is just to receive it. Or to not receive it, you know, to let it fall.
Could I ask the clerk part something? In the past, has this been investigated by ourselves? Yeah.
Several times. Has what been investigated?
Right, if that's the case then, if it's documented and there's a paper trail, I go.
So you're proposing to receive?
Can we go back to the vote? All those in favour of Jonathan's proposal?
That was to receive and allow the officers to answer.
To receive and to allow the council to respond.
Can you speak up? Is it to just receive or to receive and respond?
The proposal is...
Right. To receive and allow officers of the council to answer accordingly.
The ones that can be answered.
Can I just ask it? We say that allow officers to respond accordingly.
Officers of the council, yeah.
Sorry, say again.
Officers of the council.
Yeah. What are we going to reply to? This is why the letter's in front of us. If you want a reply, you have to say what we're going to reply, then we can instruct the officers to do it. You can't just let everything go to the officers in that sense. You've got to say what you want to reply.
I think the clerk would appreciate some further instruction from the council.
Could I amend mine then, just to receive the letter? Am I allowed to?
Yes.
Seconded.
Just to receive.
Excuse me, isn't that one of the complaints that she has said we're constantly receiving and not doing?
I think they've been answered, but just because
that shouldn't be discussed in the public domain necessarily, but we received the same requests there. In my opinion, and it's my personal opinion, not obviously that from the council, is that some of this is vexatious. Other parish councils do have policies on vexatious correspondence, but we don't.
So just to repeat the proposal to receive the letter.
It's been seconded.
By Diane, all those in favour?
You're still on second.
Yeah, I did. To receive or to discuss complaint from the resident outlined in email from Councillor Sadler and the clerk's response. 9:13.
Did we not sort
No. I believe that there is a health and safety issue here. Now then, can somebody tell me, is Anston Parish Council responsible for the green and the track? Do you know, Stuart? It is, right.
The green's maintenance and upkeep is vested with the parish council.
Right. Does that include the track up to number 10?
Yes.
Right. Well, in that case, there is a problem with the track. It's a health and safety issue because the track needs some maintenance, and because it's not had the maintenance, there's a lot of debris and water running down into the courtyard of number 10, which could cause someone walking in the courtyard to fall, in which case I don't have to spell it out, do I? So, could the council ask the ground staff to have a look at the track, or it might be better with their track record of tracks to get a contractor such as Stephen Baker, who's very conversant with that area, to have a look at what could be done. But I do believe it's it should be treated as urgent before there's an accident.
Councillor Sadler, do you mind if I just ask, as politely as possible, if you...
Yes, I do know Mrs. Estrada Haig, and that is why I know exactly what's happening with the courtyard. I've walked on there myself.
Chairman, I have an objection there because
quite
Councillor Sadler has a
dangerous.
vested interest in this item and she shouldn't be actually speaking or discussing this item with her being a friend.
I was asking Councillor
I will declare a personal interest because I know Mrs. Estrada Haig, but I can separate that from the issue to anybody.
Could I make a point of order,
who's
Chairman,
interested.
please? Standing Order 87 states that if you declare an interest, that you shall leave the room.
Right. Can I stand on another point of order, Chair? Can I ask, have you got that on your phone?
I believe.
Right. Whoever's got it on the phone, or if you've got a copy.
We have a copy.
Read the standing orders out, because in the Code of Conduct, in the Code of Conduct, in the Code of Conduct, it says you have to declare personal and prejudicial interests. But also in the Code of Conduct, it says, I can't quote it verbatim, so I won't, but basically it says it's up to the individual councillor to consider, I think the word is, to consider whether they will leave the room or not.
No.
So, if I could just read Standing Order 8.
Chairman will have it, I'm sure.
Is that what you're about to do? Sorry. We always have a copy here. Sorry? Where a matter arises at a meeting which relate to an interest listed in Appendix A, attached to the understanding orders, the member shall declare what this interest is, not participate in the discussion or vote on the matter, leave the room when the matter is discussed and voted on. 2, subject to paragraph 2 above, where a matter arises at a meeting which relates to an interest in Appendix A, which is a sensitive interest, the member shall disclose that he has an interest, but not necessarily the nature of it. Where a matter arises at a meeting which relates to an interest in Appendix B, attached to the understanding orders, the member shall declare the interest, if not already entered on the register, may speak on the matter only if members of the public are also allowed to speak at the meeting, and shall not vote on the matter.
Can I just clarify what you've just read out there? Is that the standing orders? Is that the standing order, or is it the Code of Conduct?
That's Standing Order 87.
Right, because part of the standing order you've just quoted about leaving the room, I believe that's now been superseded by the 2011 Localism Act, when all the Code of Conduct changed. At one time, if you declared a personal interest, you had to leave the room. The Code of Conduct, which we've all signed up to, states quite clearly that you must declare personal interests, and then at item 6 or further on, it says it's up to individual councillors to consider whether they would need to leave the room. I can't remember the exact words. That's why around this table we've had people declaring personal interests and they haven't left the table because they don't need to. You have to definitely leave the table if you declare a prejudicial interest. It's up to the individual councillor whether they deem that they leave the table. If our standing orders contradict the Code of Conduct, then we need to seriously look at which is right.
Orders do contradict it.
No. Well, you just said you got to...
Orders relate to pecuniary interests. So there's...
Right, can I suggest...
Yes, Chairman, these are the standing orders we all voted for on the annual
Right.
meeting to comply with.
Can I suggest
in May?
Can I suggest then to move forward, because there's some confusion, Councillor Sadler I think has just declared a personal interest. Can we ask that we carry on with business and that the clerk be asked to clarify with the RMBC monitoring officer what the actual ruling is on members declaring interest and leave the room. I think we've got conflicting advice.
I think what we've got here is, we've obviously got pecuniary interests, everything listed in Appendix A, which is employment, sponsorship, contracts, land, licences, corporate tenancies and securities, etc. Whereas this is a personal interest.
Right. If you read the Code of Conduct, down at the bottom of the first page, it says you have to declare personal interests, and on the opposite page, that's when it says you have to leave the room. She's declared a personal interest.
She's declared a personal interest. It's entirely up to you.
Well, if I don't need to leave,
If you've declared a personal
won't.
interest, you don't have to.
Right, you have to make a decision, or whether you think other councillors or members of the public may think you have a greater interest in this issue than others.
well, I
Chair.
influence over what other people think.
Chair, can I ask a question in relation to this about the driveway? I know there's a whole host of questions to be answered.
You declared a personal interest, and my advice to you would be, and it's on as a councillor, is stay here.
A question was asked earlier about the track, and I don't know the answer to this. Was somebody asked Councillor Thornton if the track up to number 10 is our responsibility?
That's right.
Is it our responsibility?
Right. From my previous experience at being on the council and the discussions we've had over court cases, etc., the parish council is vested in the upkeep of the village green, i.e. that area, within the boundaries. Now the boundary, as far as I'm aware, and I think Clive will probably back me up on this, the boundaries is the walls around the green into people's gardens. So both the top and the bottom track come inside the boundary of the green.
I would suggest that nobody's 100% clear on that.
I am.
And if you are, you are. But Chairman, could we actually have clarity on whether we are responsible for that
To the best of
particular
my
drive?
knowledge, I think we are, but again, I don't think we are 100%.
No.
100% certain on that.
Given the circumstances, perhaps we should be 100%. So at least we know where we're batting from.
Michael will know.
Okay.
Michael
exactly what
knows.
I've just
It's simply a
told
case
you.
of
Right.
Michael's
Okay.
understanding.
Look, that's
can
great.
we
Cheers.
get on with this one, please?
Okay.
Thank you.
Maybe better if you don't say.
Yeah, well, sorry.
Bear with me. I'll bring it up.
Basically what I was going to say, but if we clearly are responsible for it, and as a good neighbour, we should rectify the problem. That's for that element of it. There's another worrying part of it, though, down in the second paragraph, which is somebody's suggesting that the bench on the green is removed because undesirables hang around and watch their mates jumping fences. Well, I'd like to plead a case for the aged geriatrics who I include myself after climbing that steep footpath onto the green.
Obviously you're undesirable.
Could I reply to that? Could I reply to Councillor Bentley?
Yep.
That was a suggestion of the poor person living on the green suffering from the antisocial behaviour, not my suggestion.
We have no obligations to all
No,
this.
no, we know
Stuart,
that.
Can we move on? 909.
Jared, let's clarify the boundaries. We saw it, this could be ASO, it could be anything. Let's just clarify in writing what response, what part of land we've got. Or is it, and if it is, we can sort it. But we're all going, well, I don't know, or he might know. Let's have it in black and white, then we know, like, Councillor, we know where we're batting from then. It might just be here, so we don't know. Let's have it in black and white, then we can work in a proper structure then.
We were in the office, can I just be really quick, and then we will. We were in the office the other day, and the ground staff have obviously been up, they regularly go up to the green, and the ground staff weren't of the opinion that there was anything wrong. Stuart and Jonathan, and then can we...
My point I was going to make quickly is we're going on and on about this. Right. We're going on and on. I had suggested earlier on to Krishna, I thought we'd instructed or given instructions for our guys to go have a look at this and amend or sort it out if there was a problem. If our guys say there's nothing wrong,
And I say there is.
well,
Because I will come there. Where does that go?
Okay, Christine,
all right,
you wanna ask
okay,
Stuart?
yeah. If our guys have been up and said there's nothing wrong to us, we have to accept that because there's no reason to lie. However, I'm not saying it's right, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'll think on that one myself. Go to the second part. We have a member of the public there, and there's basically a complaint of antisocial behaviour where it looks like the kids are jumping the walls. This is, for those that don't know, this person lives in the end house next to where the path goes right down to, not the flats, what do you call it? The flat area?
Hillside.
Hillside, that's right, hillside, yeah. So this person, it's like the kids are jumping over the wall onto his flat roof building, which is not acceptable and it shouldn't happen. Mr. Dobson, I'm going to mention names I have now. The person in this instance, in the first instance, should always phone the police and report antisocial behaviour. And I think they're asking maybe the shrubs on the boundary of that wall, be left alone to deter them doing it. And I don't think that's an erroneous thing to do. Just let me eventually the green. I think the bench. Sorry, but I think the bench should stop there. It's been there for donkey's years. Let me just have a quick read. So, I mean, the clerk's reply regarding the disturbance is basically, it's normally the residents' responsibility to secure their own property, which I agree. But I think, so really we haven't got a legal responsibility to do anything. But I think we should seriously consider allowing a certain part of that area to overgrow to deter the kids climbing on it.
Thank you, Stuart. Jonathan, Diane, and then I'd like to move that we proceed to the vote.
Regards to actual green itself, we're responsible for the green. Anyone can travel over the green as long as they don't damage the green, and that is in the Commons Act of 2006. But what I'd like to know is who actually put the path down originally, because surely whoever paid for or asked for the path to be put, it should be responsible, because that then is on top of our green that we look after. So I believe it's more of a technicality in a way, but we could do with finding that out. Then whoever put it down originally should be responsible.
Can I just clarify?
And then
Diane, can I just clarify a very important point before
Chairman, I've not finished yet. Thank you. And the other point was where the chap lives, well, I'm not mentioning his name, at the top of the steep hill. He's put up a lot of fencing on top of the metal fencing on top of the wall itself. If we allow that to be overgrown, surely that will make it far easier for children to clamber over, being able to swing on vines and get over the fence anyway. Thank you.
Diane, can I just make a quick clarification? I'd just like to clarify a statement that you've just made, Jonathan, that anybody can drive over the green. You made that same statement in the Open Spaces Committee, and I made it quite clear then, and I explained to you why that wasn't true. You've just made the same statement again in a public meeting, again, after I made it clear that it was a false statement. You're making false statements that as a councillor, especially somebody who sits on the standards board, shouldn't be making in meetings.
Chairman, just to clarify,
the general public do not have a right.
Sorry, Councillor Bowers.
On a point of order.
Sorry, Councillor Bowers.
You hear him?
Gentlemen, this is sounding being personal. Let's stick to facts, please. Don't get personal between you.
No, but I'm correcting a false statement. Simple as that. I'm correcting
Chairman,
a false
all I can
statement.
suggest is that the councillors read the Commons Act of 2006, and that will clarify it, and link that with the Commons Act of 1896 as well. It will be quite helpful.
You're wrong.
Thank you, Diane.
Can have two.
Going back to what Stuart just said about allowing the vegetation to grow up, that surely contradicts the maintenance programme that we've already agreed on.
Oh my God.
I think there are points of clarification that need to be made before we come back to this one. So I'm going to propose that we go and have a look at it, clarify the points that have been made, and we'll leave this one on for the next meeting. Are we happy to do that? Yes. Brilliant. So I think now we're very, very short of time. We'll have to skip on. It's 9:15. So we'll be very, very quick. We already.
Intending to have a public session. We need to do it now because we've got quite a lot of confidential items to discuss.
And what I was just about to say, Stuart.
Great minds think alike.
Yeah. So, we've got item 13 highlighted on my page in front of me. We had quite a long public session this morning, so I'd like to take this afternoon, the start of the evening, about 10:10. Can we resolve to adjourn the meeting in order to allow the public to raise any issues regarding today's meeting? Opposed, seconder? Thank you. Seconded. All those in favour? Thank you very much. Meeting adjourned. So this isn't for resolutions to be moved. It's limited to 10 minutes, and it's to allow public to raise any issues regarding today's meeting. Kevin.
Well, firstly, I can't believe that you're allowed the letter to go into confidential. It's already been discussed in the council meeting. I personally wanted that in public session because I believe the public should know why and what's happened. It's going to be a public domain anyway. It already is. So I don't really see the point why you're doing it. I'll have a copy of that letter in my hand within the next 14 days. And if I think what I'm thinking which is in it, you've already touched on people declaring interest. I think if any councillor is mentioned in that letter, they should declare an interest to the room. And also, if you're going to carry on putting letters into confidential because you don't like what might be them, I think then it's just a really bad show, to be quite honest. You're going down lines that I've no contract, I had no contract. I've got 16 years worth of paperwork, which says I have no contract, which anybody who I've spoken to, including legal people, have advised me that a verbal contract is as much standing as what a written contract has. And I will be more than happy to put that. Can you stop the council interrupting, please? I'll be more than happy to put that to the test once we get the question.
Thank you. Any other points? Sorry, gentleman on the...
Yes, I'd like to raise a point. Obviously, it's been discussed, I've got the football club, it's been discussed before, saying there's been no change in the plan, and I wasn't involved before in the plan, but I'm not aware that there was a football pitch with a legacy for the parish children to play on for the next 50 or 60 years in the previous application. So I find it amazing that it's been stated by quite a few councils. In fact, one stated it's not actually ready, but there's been no changes. Now I believe there's been quite some considerable changes. There'll be a legacy for the children of this parish, where at the minute there is no facility provided by the parish to play football for 200 and odd kids. There's a football pitch out there which is not fit for purpose because it's too wet. There was a football pitch at Crowgate which is now knee length in grass. So basically 2 football pitches for the council. So there is no facility. In Southampton, the football pitch which was there is overgrown. So now the dog walkers starting to walk their dogs on there. So the dog walkers walk their dogs on the park at Windsor Walk, which is foul. So when the children were playing football up there, they come home covered in dog nest.
Thank you.
So
I'm going to no.
So it's been,
I don't want to get into those. Gentleman at the front. Thank you. Can you make it very quick?
Well, I've been sat here for 2 hours, so I feel by people saying one thing on the Reddit, there's been no changes. There obviously have been some significant changes. So, excuse me.
I don't have to answer, but I will answer it.
Please don't.
I said there's no significant changes to the transport plan. That's what I said. I'm saying it now.
Please.
I think there's been significant changes. Like I said, I wasn't involved in this one, but I'm not aware that there was a football pitch with facilities for. At the minute we've got 210 schools and there's nobody else in this parish.
Can you carry on?
Nobody else in this parish deals with that many children, keeps them off the streets, stops the antisocial behaviour, running over hedges, etc. and has them training 2, 3, 4 times a week that keeps them off the streets. So I think the councillors should get with their parishioners to see what they really want, which I think they would believe is a football pitch, out of the way, out of the village, on a derelict piece of land which used to be a scrapyard, and will bring a lot of good to the children of this community.
Well said. Gentlemen. Jonathan Smith, I live in Southampton. I moved here 18 months ago. I am from the church, from the Christian church. I feel a little bit reticent to actually admit that, because I feel very appreciative of the comment that religion should be kept out of this decision from the parish council. Really respect that, and at points it feels as living in this community and coming from the Glencoe Christian Church seems to be a very cynical, or seems to be a very cynical approach to the planning application. So I'd just like to...
I disagree. I don't think anybody's mentioned the Brethren tonight as a church at all. If people are making accusations, we should be able to defend them.
Let people speak.
Do I need to stand up? I'll carry on. So, I just really wanted, if you don't mind a minute, just what I think was clear up some misconceptions and misunderstandings from persons in the room. I lived in Sheffield, and we were looking for a new church for the community from Chesterfield to Doncaster. Persons were living in this area already, and it was a very central location. So we spoke to Rotherham NDC Planning Department and said, these are our plans, we can come forward with some suggestions. It actually highlighted Common Road, the site at Common Road, as very likely to come out of planning of Greenbelt. So that's a huge, it's in writing.
No, that's a false statement.
We have the letter.
It's not a false statement.
So we actually went to some considerable length in the community to raise enough funds to buy the land. The first application wasn't successful, as many of you know, and the second wasn't. We don't have endless resources, very expensive land, and we're just trying any way possible, number one, to help this community, number two, to find a location where we can gather which is acceptable to the planning department, the community, and there's 3 points which I picked out from our discussion here. Number one was that special circumstances haven't actually been met. Well, there's a sequential site search that is extremely expensive. I'd just like to put on record that that's been exhausted, and that was to illustrate special circumstances. Number two, on the highways, there's a junction improvement scheme which has been proposed and offered to this community at the expense of the church to mitigate the arguments on traffic. There's also would be to highways consultants with a scheme that will be acceptable to the planning department, which Rotherham Highways have approved and agreed. So I'd just really like to ask those present to do a bit of research. There's an immense amount of expense going into the planning application. People here would know what it costs to make a planning application, and all we're trying to do is find somewhere suitable that we can actually gather with our families that's a central location. All I want to do is just tidy up some misconceptions, possibly there's other ways of doing this, but there's an immense amount of work and expense gone into to make it acceptable for the planning department. And I just ask that people, or our councillors, read thoroughly the application, because there's an immense amount of work. Just wanted to put that on the record. Thank you very much. We have about 1 minute left. Can you make it quick, please, Kevin?
No, not really, because we didn't have a full session at the beginning. You're out of here.
Please define it again.
That's not my problem, it's yours. But I'd just like to set the councillors. Can you inform me on when you're going to start the bank When are you going to file the bankruptcy?
That isn't relating to the question. You're not entitled to ask a question, and that doesn't actually relate to anything on the agenda today. The council is perfectly financially solid. Thank you very much.
It does, because the question is,
Item
when are you going to
14,
spend some
to
money?
resolve to exclude the press and public
Hang
due
on,
to
I'm going to carry on, and I'm not
the
leaving.
confidential
Don't
nature of
listen to
the
the
business
question,
to be
I'm not leaving.
transferred.
So you'll have no private
Right,
session.
I'm sorry,
We've no
Have
private
you made a
session,
proposal?
please.
Have you made a
I've got
proposal?
the right to ask a question.
I've made a proposal. You are out of time. We went into this particular part of the meeting just after quarter past.
When are you, as councillors, going to do something in our
Before we go
place?
into confidential session,
The
we'll
point
have
that you're raising
Piece of
is
ground, and you're sat
submissible.
here arguing over who's got the right over another councillor, or arguing about somebody who wants to improve the
Please,
village and
Kevin.
entrance into the village.
Chair.
Everything coming out of Aston Parish
I
Council
propose
is
that,
negative.
Chair,
There's the biggest
Kevin,
negative thing
Kevin,
that you've
please.
got, it's just
Propose
the
that
law.
you propose that we
That's the
conduct
biggest negative thing you've got, it's just the law.
I am seconding
Please.
that proposal. Thank you very much.
Do as you like.
All those
I
in
don't
favour?
care. I've got a right to ask you a question. I've been here long enough. And I believe, put your hand up, Phil, I don't give a bugger about what you do. I'm not bothered.